I will try to fit in half an hour. Let's see. But we are not so many people, that's why it should be.
Just
Uh,
merge everything.
yeah, correct. Hello to the Foundational Infrastructure Working Group meeting. On our agenda is to go over the PRs, our dashboard, and there is also another item here. Post CPI Docker Hub account. Should we talk about that first? Because
Yeah, let's do that first. I put in the channel yesterday about how our foundational infrastructure working group Docker Hub account doesn't have access to this, and like we were at 10 of 3 users on the account, which I didn't realize until I removed somebody who wasn't in the org anymore, and then I realized we're at 9 of 3. I still couldn't add it, but so I was thinking about removing everybody except Broadcom shared account, the foundational one, and Chris Clark's account. But in retrospect, maybe just abandon this account entirely because there's 2 images in it. They're both used for CI only for ops, OpenStack and Google CPIs. Like, should we just put those into the foundational infrastructure working group Docker Hub account?
yeah,
Probably makes more
Seems
sense.
like a good idea.
The fewer of these accounts with weird access, the better. All right,
yeah.
Agree.
I'll finish that up today. And then probably try to move the OpenStack one over there too, but too slow, Ruben, too slow.
Two images.
This the primary skill you have, right? Like you've perfected
Copy
it over the
paste.
years. Yes. Cannot compete with the copy paste master.
Hey, this is why connection item, or we don't have.
Hey guys.
I, do we talk also for the new one?
Yeah, I mentioned this before, but just looking at how we get BOSH releases away from doing validation and template rendering, and one of the things I was looking at was JSON schema as a releases could provide a JSON schema, and then the director could validate the deployment properties that they match that schema, and if not, throw an error before the deployment starts. It sounds great. It's not that simple. But I am sort of moving forward with it. Don't use the JSON schema gem, it turns out, because that one like is old and like moderately updated, but like supports JSON schema 4, and there's like 6 or 7 now. But there's a different one that's good-ish. There's 2 tricky parts. One is we kind of want to have validations for certificates also, and that's not something JSON schema does, but there's nothing that prevents you from extending the schema. The gem that I'm looking at doesn't have a great way of doing that, but I think I can wedge it in there. So we just define like a new type in the JSON schema of certificate, and then we would document how people want to validate these properties that they match these certificate types or whatnot. Um, that's like a very good amount of work, but very doable. The other problem is that it's really hard to find out where to put this in the BOSH director because all these properties come in initially and you're like, great, properties, let me validate these. And then you find out a bunch of them are like double paren like CredHub references. It's like, well, that's not anything. So you actually have to wait until much later in the deployment process and resolve those CredHub references before you can do the validation. That's still before anything deploys, but it's sort of like right before template rendering. You have to sort of do that CredHub uh, fetching, or sorry, config server, whatever config server you might be using.
Isn't it at the place where we're doing the spec, right? We already have spec files that we're applying, right? Specs are being applied as a filter, right? So if something is not defined in the spec, then it's not propagated unless the spec is empty. Then everything is
uh,
propagated.
Somewhat. There's a lot that goes into building that spec, but at that point in the spec, it's still CredHub references.
Oh,
Um, So those aren't currently resolved until actual template rendering right now. So we're gonna have to resolve those a little bit earlier. Hopefully using, I mean, we resolve those like hundreds, thousands of times during a deploy because we render all templates twice and render them separately for every VM. So it's not like it's going to be a major performance consideration, just having to find the right spot to do it and having all of the right inputs as far as like the config server, whatnot, and the properties and everything. And there's some refactoring that probably needs to go into the template rendering code and just finding the right spot to wedge that in. I'm trying to do sort of a spike on it to just prove out its in general and also the ability to extend it for things like certificates. And then eventually I'll make a RFC for it.
Do you need? Yeah, you need an RFC, maybe. I don't know.
Well, we have the RFC
If
for
it's
the other thing,
it's
and like,
opt-in. Yeah, it's opt-in, right? So they don't have to use it, but it's like a solution to like because you have that whole other RFC that's there, and then during that there was like, oh, we need to do a lot of validation, and this is basically taking those arguments against the other RFC away, right? Saying, oh, but there's a feature in the director that just works. Just use JSON schema.
yeah, stop X509 certificate new inside of your template rendering.
Yeah.
But RFC would be interesting to get feedback from the Bosch release.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I did this for the new templating language, like all that feedback was super valuable in figuring out like this causes problems right now because of the lack of property validation that we have.
Yeah.
Are you saying the RFC process works?
Uh, it is not rapid, but it does serve its purpose of like actually building the right thing,
Nice.
which is often the trade-off.
Not so interesting to build the right thing.
There's also some weirdness is because like JSON schema has like, oh, this is the default, which doesn't actually make it the default, just sort of a part of the spec is documenting it. And like we already have that in spec files. So probably just like leave that out of the spec, but it's like weird. There's like a little bit of like overlap between these things. It's almost like you once you have the JSON schema, it's kind of like you could get rid of this most of what all the property stuff from the spec at that point. Could be an either or, but I don't think there's any desire to do that as a first step, at least.
Yeah,
Also,
wouldn't
then
it make
it's a little harder to
is the
discover.
idea to extend the spec to contain like a JSON schema
JSON
validation part?
schema is JSON, but it's fairly verbose and like
But you can also
complicated.
write it in YAML, right? Like
Yeah, you could conceivably write it in YAML, but it's going to make those spec files like very verbose. And it doesn't fit well because right now, like JSON schema has like this is an object and it contains these properties, which are also objects or whatnot. And so like that's, sometimes there's just like a top level spec property and like really the release is expecting a tree of objects beneath it. And so JSON schema lets you like do that, but that sort of goes a little bit, I don't know. We could see when it gets to the RFC stage, where it makes sense to put it. I was thinking just a top level file similar to spec of like this is the property schema or something, but there might be a way of wedging it in, but that also might just be kind of like a worst of both worlds. We have to see what it's sort of some example schemas, take a release like this is the schema to validate it. Like, can we put the structure into the spec file or no, this should just be a separate thing. We'll
yeah,
see once we
I'm
get
just
some
like
examples.
worried about the duplication, right? Because you're gonna have the spec defining the properties like with the nesting and everything, but then you also have that same information again in the JSON schema.
Yeah. Especially when the JSON schema does a lot of what spec already does, as far as like only thing spec does is define it and say this is the default. So those are things that the schema does. But yeah, might also, yeah. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird too because uh nobody talks about JSON schemas as YAML. Like we could parse the YAML and then convert it to JSON and then pass it to the libraries, but it's sort of weird. It's like, hey, write these JSON schemas, but by the way, don't write them the way everybody else writes them. Put them in YAML instead. But we could also have a YAML key in each property that is the schema for it. Normally you make sort of one global schema doc, but you could sort of have one for each property. But I don't know how verbose that's going to get. Yeah, let's see some examples.
Yeah, but I'm like, you could basically parse the spec file and convert it into a JSON schema.
Right. It just gets kind of weird then as far as like people writing it, because then they're like, JSON schema, what's this? Oh, I understand this, but like all the examples like don't mesh with what you're asking me to do. Goes against the grain of what JSON schemas normally is.
Basically, you want to only use the validations from JSON schema.
I mean, that's primarily the only thing JSON schema does. Like it has default in it, but like that doesn't, none of the libraries do anything with that. That's just like a documentation thing of like, this is the default.
Just like the example thing that you can do in specs.
Similar, it feels similar to that. Like some libraries might do that, and there's like different ways of using it, but yeah, primarily JSON schema is strictly a just thing to validate. It is a validation, abstract validation thing. But the extensibility of it is good, so that, you know, even if we define this, you know, certificate type, and then like this library we're using is like 5 years from now is like not the major one, it shouldn't be hard to take whatever library people are using now and re-implement what we did inside of it. So working off of sort of a standard is good because it gives us flexibility in the tools that we use to accomplish that, I think.
And the extensibility is also standardized.
To some degree, like yeah, I mean, JSON schema is pretty abstract. It's like, this is a type, and, you know, it's got like 5 types. It's like numeric or string or object or array. But like, they're like, yeah, you could define additional types. Nobody says how to do it because it's just sort of an abstract spec. So it's like, whatever you do, you have to then implement whatever library you're using to parse this spec. But yeah, there's nothing that people talk about extensibility. A lot of the library, I don't know if the spec talks a lot about extensibility. A lot of the libraries talk about it as a like, yeah, this is thing that people do.
Yeah, okay, I see.
Definitely all of the libraries I tried, like when I defined a type that just didn't even exist, I'm like, I want a certificate type. It just like blew by that. It's like, I don't know what that is. I'm ignoring that. So it's just like, it's not rigid in its parsing, I think.
Is this the library you're using? JSON schema something talks about extending schemas.
That is not the one. That's the one I first looked at. The problem with this one is it only supports JSON schema draft 6, maybe, and there's like much more than that. There's a JSON schemer or something that I was looking at, which is less nice in its extensibility, but supports like the 2022 or 2020 like JSON schema stuff. So this one seems like it's unlikely to be upgraded based upon some of the issues in it. They're like, yeah, this is what it is. And it's probably not going to support any new drafts. So having to tell people like, no, support 3 draft. We only support like JSON schemas 6. I don't know how many, there's like some minor tweaks between the schema versions as far as structure of some things. But it seems best to be able to support the latest draft.
Yeah.
Thanks, that was useful. I need to drop for another meeting.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, then we can go to the dashboard, or I think we discussed the validation. Yeah, okay, then go to the dashboard. ID device path resolver. So there are some check failures. Roman, did you have a chance to look into those?
Which one? Is someone sharing a screen? I don't see anything.
Yes, I see my.
I see it.
I share my screen. I see my screen. Also. The device part, I did a solver. What is could not what export data?
Don't know what that error means.
I don't see shit.
Leave and rejoin. Or stop sharing and reshare. Turn it all off and turn it all back on again.
Where's our dashboard? I don't know where it is anymore.
Sorry, I will reshare.
No, this is different.
Do you see now something?
No, I don't see. Yes, I see something like it.
He found it.
So we are talking about the Bosch agent change for the ID device part resolver stuff.
Yeah.
And there are some checks failing, the lint, go lint checks.
Then somebody probably changed something again in the upstream.
So it was
Weird.
it was something with
How does this not have a failed 3 weeks ago? Huh. I don't remember seeing this when I looked at it.
device.
I'm not even touching that.
Did it ever pass though?
I don't know. I never touched
Me neither.
it. If you look in the code, there's if you look in the commit, there was nothing there.
Yeah, I know.
Nothing there?
Nothing related to it.
I don't know. Maybe try rerunning the check, see if it works.
We need to rerun.
I think if you click on the details for it, you can then the details for the failing one.
There are multiple.
No, there are multiple things are failing. Nice.
Yeah.
They're both lints. They're
Yeah.
just different lints for some reason.
Rerun failed jobs. Yeah.
Okay, we can check them later.
One thing I put a comment on here, not that this needs changing, but like we talked last week about like it'd be good to document this in Bosch.io. It kind of is, in the sense that Bosch.io has a link to the Go docs for the package, which shows the comments for these properties. So, well, it sort of does. We'll see another PR in a second that shows why it doesn't work currently, but that means that the comments for these properties will show up there, which is linked from Bosch.io in the sort of agent property section.
And in the stem cell builder, I create an README file in every asset folder for the CPI where the agent JSON is, where it explains for every IS, like what is the results, where it's going to get, and where are we going to.
At this, you mean this one?
Yeah. Go to the.
Ruben requested some changes, so is it up to date?
Yeah, that's Benjamin. He made some textual changes, but we can just press commit, and then basically commit suggestions. I'm fine with those suggestions. It's small text thingies. I like this new feature of GitHub.
How many commits there going to be though?
It doesn't matter. We will just squash it.
It's jumping around when I commit one.
It's very helpful. Oh, good. I'm getting an email for each one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Were there this many files?
Okay. Do I have all of them now?
So basically, this is like if you look at one dog, you will see.
Sorry, I'm busy too much. This changes.
Okay.
something doesn't work, I think it's still popping up with the same.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll check it later. But here is like basically we can show it like introduction. What's the problem? This KD transfer rules. What does it? It will make it in 2 rules. And then the related information is how the persistent disk hints look and how the disk actually is named on slash by disk by ID.
Mhm.
And therefore, I hope it makes a little bit more sense for people. If we ourselves look back at it in a few months, and we say, "Oh yeah, this is how it works."
Seems good.
Okay, now I have we have edit for OpenStack, AWS, Google.
AWS and Ali. Azure, we don't do anything, and vSphere has its own set of problems that we don't want to take care of.
Yeah.
And
Neither
Azure
of those
is
really
also
provide.
its own league.
Okay, and we can so if we merge now the change,
We won't do anything until the agent can read the properties.
yeah,
So it'll be harmless.
but the agent changes.
Wait, hold on. Wait, 1 sec. What are the changes? So there's Service Manager System D.
This was a thing that we forgot.
Ah, okay.
Just got into the I wanted to create its own thing, but I thought, lab.
So
Who cares?
shouldn't that have been causing problems?
Well, it doesn't cause problems because we're not testing AliCloud.
Oh, that's only for Ali.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the Ali Cloud one. Oh, I see.
Yes,
Okay,
so
all the
on
other ones already
AliCloud,
had
we
System
forgot to
D.
put the System D on, and we don't test that. So
Yeah.
and
Okay.
also
All
it
right.
seems for
I
bus
see.
agent. Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Makes sense.
Oh no, it is Service Manager System D. It's tabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that all the other ones. We just missed Ali Cloud, which is yeah. Sneak it in here. Why not? But then once the agents merged, then
Yeah, then it should work. Why is Ruben still? There is nothing.
Oh, he commented last week with that we need to have the docs.
Yeah, we added docs.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I wanted to override.
you could probably click on view requested change next to his comment and probably mark it as resolved or something.
Or you can
But
do
yeah, just check the box.
I think better not press merge pull request, but do it with squash because otherwise we get a million.
Yeah, do the drop down.
Okay, yeah. Squash and merge. Oh, do you want to edit here? 2012.
You could delete all that, yeah. You can delete fixed typo too, because if we squashed it, there was no typo ever.
Yeah, this Jason. Okay.
Cool.
Back to the other one. So this one is still
Yeah, they're still failing.
I think we need to check before merging.
Are there any other things in boss agent pull request that we have, which are also failing there? Because that didn't change anything.
So there is on this one, for example, all checks have passed.
Of course it is.
So that just a second, I wanted to check which goal.
Felix has one that's passing, but it's might have run before yours. Succeeded last week. That's weird.
At least Ubuntu latest, yeah, this one which is failing on yours is green here.
I don't know how to solve it because we never touch it.
Could not load export data, no export data for UDEV device fakes. Did some of the fakes get changed in this?
Is it?
Fake UDEV, yeah. It's mentioning, oh.
Yes, so the Ubuntu version has been changed so that something.
Wait, was this a mistake? If you look at the ID path resolver test.go and the PR and look at the files changed.
Yeah. Which one?
The second file, I think.
They could have. Here, this one
Yeah, so the path changed from Bosch agent v2 to Bosch agent.
You see, Ramon, you have something here.
You broke everything, Ramon.
Okay.
I don't know. That's interesting that this next line too, that even the Bosch settings, like, I don't know what your IDE did.
Yes, I have no idea either. Because I only added Bosch log. I only
Right.
added the one.
And it's like, let me fix this for you.
Didn't change anything there. Okay.
Who reviewed this PR anyway?
Whatever, I wanted to check all. Joseph.
Oh, this is awkward.
Okay, I will change that.
So this is then waiting for changes.
So we'll probably get this merged soon. And then once this is merged, is there anything else stopping us from doing Noble? GA?
Yeah, we are waiting on the validation in CF deployment.
Yeah, we're waiting for CF deployment, guys.
That's still in progress.
Yes.
I haven't heard
Okay.
anything back from them.
So they are working on that. I also hadn't checked whether they discovered something or what is the status.
And SAP, like Felix is still working on the IPv6 stuff. And I think some small changes need to be done as well, but nothing holding GA basically. Because nobody is using IPv6 as far as I know. So there would only be basically be added in the future, maybe the next coming month.
But
looks like there's two open issues currently in the CF deployment validation. There's an issue saying the rep fails, the Diego rep, and then they pinged them last week asking if there's any update to that, so they're on it. And then there is an issue with the PXC MySQL compiling on Noble, which hasn't been updated since December. I'll ping, I think all those people work on our side. I'll ping them and see if they've got any updates on that.
So I will put an action item. I will check with CF deployment, and maybe we can put this as topic for next week to discuss GA. Okay, then the next one is optional isolated environment. Okay, there also proposal.
I don't remember typing this.
This was during the meeting. I still remember we discussed and decided, but I'm not sure whether this has been already implemented here. Remove mixed definitions. Let test work.
Oh, what was my comment before the remove Nix stuff? That was on the 18th. I think it was. Maybe we were just waiting on them to remove that stuff.
It is not, well, I can check the date here, last month.
If you hover over it, it'll say. Eventually.
December 19th. Okay.
No, it's the day after. Well,
Yeah.
that's upsetting.
So this is waiting for changes then. Let me put
What changes though?
I don't
your
know.
comment.
Did my comment ask for changes?
Yeah, and then
No, this is just related to the path, right? Like the remove. I think you removed the next.
Okay.
so the suggestions, we think a good direction is to just always enable the isolated environment with the Bosch CLI.
Okay. Okay. I was misreading my thing. Yeah, I think you're right then. Waiting on changes.
You can explicitly request changes if you want. I will put it in
Yeah,
waiting for change.
I'll open that. Take a look at it after.
Disable error message related to network interface cards. This is
Yeah, we discussed this just last week. Still need to be reviewed. And
yes.
it's that
Yeah.
useless check that is removed.
Yeah.
I'll harass our people about that.
Update counterfeiter and fakes. Also waiting for review.
I can put we can just say accept. It's for fakes. I don't have many problems with all this automated.
Many files, maybe we can. I will add myself and check on also the files that there is nothing unwanted inside. I don't know.
Yeah, everything under the fake stuff you could just basically accept. Maybe something like they also updated some Golang libraries, but seems like all minor.
Max.
Yeah, okay, so they basically updated counterfeiter.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. I wanted to check the fake stuff here on the left on the tree, but
Yeah, you can ignore vendor and then.
okay. I think it's all. It's not urgent, isn't it?
No. And it's going to, like, once it gets reviewed, then he's going to have to rebase it. Rebasing it before the review doesn't make sense because he's changing the Go dependency version. So every week when those auto bump, it's just going to create a new conflict.
Yeah. This one, prevent report of releases. We
This is
discussed.
related to that issue from that we discussed last week. But
Yeah.
he needs to put something in the description.
Yeah, I want, because it's a new contributor. I think we should.
Some information in the description. And do an approve and run, so it will do all the checks.
Yeah. So we need. Okay, it's pending review. What is this one?
Oh, yes, this is the docs-bosh. I mentioned that they link to the Go docs for the Bosch agent, except they don't. They link to the V1 Bosch agent Go docs, which are super out of date. So this changes the host name to where Go docs are stored now, and it adds the V2 to the URLs so that they link to the current version of the documentation. I was very confused for like a good 5 minutes as I'm like, it links there. Why is this not up to date? Why is this documenting properties that don't even exist anymore?
Okay. Good that we discussed it. Almost. I will just match then.
Yeah, it's pretty minor.
Yeah.
Especially since nobody's noticed that it's been super wrong for years.
Yeah. Just accept this, and we also need it for.
I don't like this. I don't want JQ. I don't want a new dependency on some stem cells, but we don't really have a lot of choice here.
Yeah, we don't. It's
JQ is used by the Bosch releases or who?
no, it's used by the compute engine. It's now default.
The package name in the title of the ish PR GCE compute image packages now includes JQ as a dependency, which was in their release notes. Doesn't seem to be an accident. I was like, can we just get rid of this thing? But I didn't test it, but I don't think so. I don't think we can get rid of that. I think that installs like the GCP tools and whatnot, which if you don't have, you're not going to get all the monitoring and stuff. So
there is a possibility, but it makes it way more complex than just accepting the packages.
yeah.
And two additional dependencies
those are libraries for JQ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of them's libjq, and the other one I looked up, it's something to do with like regex or something. So also no doubt used by JQ.
Okay.
And then is this a good time to just merge Jammy forward to fix Noble 2 or?
Yeah, I think it's finally time.
I mean, I did it like 3 months ago, which is something that it would be nice to make automated. There's problems with it right now, which is that inside of the Linux Stem Cell Builder repo, we store meta links to we store all the stuff pointing at the Bosch agent and the Blobstore CLIs and the base OS image. And those get updated like constantly on both sides. So there's like always conflicts in those that you just, auto resolve and whatnot. But like if we got those out of the pipeline or out of the repo, then which they're not really that important in the repo, like there's no reason those can't just be concourse resources.
I want them out, but it's really. I tried looking into that, and it's like, Jesus.
You should be able to just pass them as concourse resources.
If you look into the image metalinks school project from someone, it's like, oh.
Yeah,
it's never updated. It's a static thing that we're being using for years and years and hasn't been updated for.
You don't need to update it. It's done. It's solved.
It's solved.
Yeah. But yeah, so if we got those out, then we could, in theory, have it just merge forward after every green build of Jammy. Just take those changes and put them into Noble. But for now, I'll do a manual merge of it, which will fix that pipeline too.
So this is for me still a discussion. I had a discussion about this with Felix yesterday.
Okay.
Because the agent, I wanted to basically enable, we basically enable IPv6 by default now. Because it's ridiculous how the agent enables IPv6 in the first place. And we physically on Jammy, we just disable IPv6 because by default it's standard open. And these two settings are being done when so what is now changing back, so the accept redirects and accept the all accept redirects, those are default done by the agent now to set this, and then the freaking VM needs to be restarted to accept this.
So wait, 1 or 0 is the default on Ubuntu?
I don't know.
Okay.
This is something that needs to be checked. I hope he checked it, and that's why he made this commit. But I haven't talked to him today. So just add me as reviewer and someone else who is from networking or security, because they flag this because of some of their vulnerability scans.
What do you mean security?
They had Linus scans. Never heard of it, but it's they use this to scan something.
But reviewing from we have the security working group, but
Yeah, I think we need someone from there.
yeah,
Because they have way more context, and I really don't.
I think on your side there is compliance. Joseph, Nitin or someone is doing compliance security.
Yeah, he's in our working group. Yeah, add him.
Yeah.
What's he called?
Nitin. Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he would probably say yes. It makes it more secure. Yes, it makes it more secure.
Yeah. Okay, the last one, it's about a new Bosch release.
Whoa.
Amazing. We haven't had that in a long, long time. What is it? I want to know what it is.
I don't know how to pronounce it. It's I was looking. It's an for
alert.
search alerting UI for Elasticsearch.
Okay, sounds good.
Elastic Stack.
Seems a simple release.
I'm not. It's on the one person account. I don't know whether we do this.
Yeah, we have. I think we have a few of those in personal accounts, but
Yeah, I mean, the releases on Bosch.io are, there's a lot of community stuff there, but there's I think even more non-Cloud Foundry first party things in there. Now that's because a lot of it lived in Pivotal and other spots, but yeah, not
they can put it
not
in.
uncommon.
Do we still have we don't maintain it anymore? The community. Basically, we gave everyone permission to the community Cloud Foundry community organization. They can put their repo under there, but
No.
I don't know if that's still open.
I think they're trying to get things out of there for the most part.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, I will just accept it. I don't care.
So it is an official process now to get a new repository in the Cloud Foundry GitHub organization.
Does anybody know what the difference between these two files is? What is avatars.yaml?
I don't know.
So it's
the exact same thing, or not?
I think so. It's the image of the contributor,
Which shows up on Bosch.io, I guess. Yeah, I guess so.
You do?
Yeah, when you look at releases, it's got a little icon next to a lot of the releases. Some of them don't have icons, but
oh yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Why not? Okay.
I like the Bob Ross ones.
Are those
Yeah, for pivotals you have experimental. There's Bob Ross as an icon.
Oh.
Yeah, people now
I
assign.
would just accept this. It's
You
Porsche
don't
will
want-
just go over it, and it's.
You don't want to check anything in the Bosch release that is not malicious.
I mean, it's generally like whether we check it now, like, and then they change it tomorrow, it's like super malicious. Like the Bosch IO build process is secure as far as I know. Even if you do like pre-packaging scripts and whatnot, like doesn't matter because it's all in a container. It's just Bosch. It just runs a Bosch create release and uploads that artifact. We will need to refly the pipelines after it's pulled in to make a pipe, so it'll deploy the pipeline to do it. But yeah,
Isn't that an auto?
not reflying the pipelines.
Oh, I thought it was automatically nowadays for a long time. It was automatically, I think.
It
for
definitely could have
Bosch
been.
releases, but-
It definitely hasn't been. And it's a little bit awkward to do. You have to like check out the worker and the web, and like there's this crazy script you run, and it like loops through all these YAML files and does like a fly set pipeline for each one, and got to make sure you're targeted right. And
Oh, okay.
I just look at my bash history. It's in there somewhere.
Can I
So
give
what I expected was automated was basically some monkey was doing his job. Probably you.
another approval on the before?
Yeah, I'll click it.
Thanks.
Done.
Okay.
And I'll get those reflown so it actually shows up.
Okay. So we are done with the PRs. We have only one issue. I think Ramon, you have context in this one. At least I saw Slack discussions.
Well, I pointed out to a few things, like I saw it in the Slack channel, and I said, well, we are not using NetPlan. We are still using if up down. We reverted back from, because in Bionic they changed the networking names from WEN01 something. Tried to make it a little bit deterministic, but a lot of people were relying on the physical naming of ETH0 and 1 for the networking. So we reverted that back in Bionic, and we also did it with the BIOS dev names, which also is related to the same thing. But yeah, so if you want consistent of deterministic network interface names, we need to then basically revert that kernel setting that we do, which sets the biodev names and the other one. But then we get the networking naming will change from ETH0 to EN and whatever the PCI the ID will be. So I think it will break. I know it will break stuff.
Mhm.
So
Definitely seems like a good thing to bring up a year ago and put it in the Noble beta if we wanted to change it, and people could adjust the releases for it. But it feels kind of late in the game to be doing that.
yeah, I never thought about this until yesterday.
But is this something, why is this coming now?
They are trying to do, they assign multiple, they have a script that have multiple networks, and
Yeah.
their programs need to have physical access or something to those networks,
Yeah,
and they wanted to keep it the same every time, but
Mhm.
apparently it's not doing that. So there are two ways to solve this. Either we keep the ETH0, and then Bosch can basically be deterministic. When we did the first run, we basically get the MAC addresses for or ID addresses for the network cards, and then we basically make where was it called? There was like a command where you can say, okay, this IP address needs to be assigned to this physical network network card, and that's how you would be a little bit deterministic, but that's something that we need to build in then in the Bosch agent, and they don't know how kind of hassle it's going to be. It's also, we're still stuck on if up down and not on net plan. I think if we go to net plan and go to the deterministic, like the new way of network naming, that would be like one big change. So the agent, the director, and the stem cell, and all the releases that kind of depend on it needs to be changed. So it's a really big change. And I don't.
So you're saying you want to flag this open for contribution?
Yes, I don't want. I looked at it once, and it's.
But if we mark it open for contribution, we also say that it's quite late for the current stem cell. So it.
Well, I don't even know if they're. Yeah, I mean, open. Like, if they can solve this in a non-breaking way, that would be best. Like, as far as changing the stem cell, like, that's like, let's get away from IF up down and move to the net plan, and then like deal with the repercussions. That's probably not something you can do in a non-breaking way. So that's probably not an option. They might not have any good options at this point, and they
Okay.
might have to deal with it from the release side for now.
Well, next year is going to be. Oh no, is it this year or next year? The new. Oh no, it's next year. The new LTS. They can jump onto that.
I will put then that it's open for contribution, and a change which is backwards compatible we can accept.
Yeah.
Don't plan to go into this, but we would like to
Let them know that. The noble time frame to fix this. If they can fix it very fast, and now we can take a look. But
Okay.
we already changed so much in Noble, how stuff works.
I'm waiting for at SAP people start to look into Noble, validate.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's just waiting for a CF deployment. If CF deployment has a pipeline up and running, I am just happy, and
Yeah.
and then people can test it.
Okay, all the issues are older than last meeting. We should check also the promotions dashboard. There is a new open one. When accepted already.
Seems approved by 2 people.
We need 2 people to accept. I will ping again the.
It is a 2 reviews, 2 approvals.
But one from Ruben. We need usually the rule is to have 2 approvals from the approvers in the sub area, and then we can.
Okay.
Because they know better the people, we don't know the people, and we cannot judge about the.
But CredUp is 1 person, right?
Not anymore. We had some.
We just merged a bunch of people in there.
Oh, okay.
You see here there 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, they are added, but are they doing? Are they physically doing something on it?
Oh, in the meantime we have 4 approvals. Because there is a rule, if we have only 3 approvers, 1 approval is fine, but we have 4. Okay. Yeah, I will ping the people.
I think you wanted the word need at the beginning of your comment.
Ah. We still thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we are done with the dashboard. Is there anything else we should discuss?
Yeah, mine, my PR can now be approved by the ID device path resolver. Just merge it now.
That's waiting for changes.
Squash and merge.
Didn't do anything to not, but so
But no, squash first, because otherwise we get like 14 commits.
yeah.
Why'd you make 40 commits?
There are a lot of whips in it, and you know how annoying it was to solve this?
At Olga typo. What I should leave at only on the top ID device battery, so at AWS.
At AWS.
Multiplying coins at Logos.
You can leave the replace strip volume regex test. Well, I don't know. I guess not test. This replaces strip volume regex with the disk transform.
Which is it actually doing?
Yeah. We had intentions of it doing something.
This one is
should also be gone because it's my IDE. I don't know what I don't know what Visual Code was thinking.
Okay, this. But when we're I was thinking, so in Jamie, we won't add any regex to the stem cell builder, only on novel.
No, because if it doesn't have any regex, it will just fall back to the old stuff.
Yeah.
Which is broken currently.
Which is broken, so it doesn't do anything.
So it wouldn't be bad to add that to Jammy, but also it's not causing huge problems.
Okay. Then
we'll give it some time at Noble and see if the new stuff causes problems, and then if we want, we can cherry pick it back.
We managed to clean up a little bit the dashboard. Great, and we are right on time.
Perfect.
Yeah, we probably need to also the duns. We probably need to archive those, because otherwise our bots are going.
I thought there was some new feature that's supposed to auto do something.
Ruben was doing that, but I don't know.
Archive or delete all. What was it?
It was archive.
I don't even what does delete even mean? Can you delete?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means, because you can't delete a PR. You can close a PR.
Oh, they are back again.
Oh, but the number is going down.
It's updating now. Okay. Great. Okay, then take care.
Okay, see ya.
See you next
Thanks.
time.